Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Welcome to Never Been Promoted. Hi, I'm your host, Thomas Helfrich. Today, we are going to talk about forging your financial future with Joseph Lombardi. That's what the F stands for. He's a legend on the Rumble. Can't cuss on YouTube, so you got to blink the words out. I just want to monetize. And if you're going to have money or you're going to financially do your future, getting money. So that's why I'm not concussing right now. Joseph Lombardi, man, this guy is he's got a lot of views on a lot of channels. He is a legend on Rumble, and he's becoming a legend on Never Been Promoted today. Just so you know, thanks for joining in. By the way, this is our mission, is to help entrepreneurs get better at entrepreneurship by cutting the time to shit holding them back, quite honestly. And money is a big part of that. And knowing how you're going to retire, or if you're going to retire, or what your financial future is, that's something that weighs on most people's minds. There's a few out there who don't, but Joseph has he's got some great perspectives, great products, great services, and stuff that he does to help people. So we'll have a conversation about that. And if you can learn a little from today's guest, then you're doing exactly what you need to move forward in entrepreneurship. Listen, if you're listening to this or watching, check out cutthetie.com. It's my only call to action. It's a community we're starting where you can go and kind of give help as an entrepreneur. And there's some masterminds and other things you can join, as well as get a copy of an amazing book written by me. All right, no shameless plugs. Joseph Lombardi coming to the stage, hot and cracking. How are you?
Good. How you doing, brother?
You give me energy. I just want you to know it's not the coffee. My coffee is broken today.
Yeah, I haven't drank coffee for 15 years. So,
and you're a good man for it. Isn't that first week? I quit coffee once. That first week sucks.
Yeah, I was smoking a lot of weed, drinking a lot of coffee, and my mom, had a lot of stuff going on. My mom died, and I was going through anxiety and all this stuff, and I was just too dehydrated, and I started getting panic attacks. So I quit and never looked back. Best decision,
I drink more in the winter for sure, because it's just cold. And so I'll rock out decaf. But I like the taste of it. That's the thing, is I actually enjoy it.
It is good. It is good, 100%.
You where do you live?
I'm in Cheshire, Connecticut.
So pretty diverse. Pretty diverse state you live in.
There's a lot of shades of white. Yeah.
It's the least diverse state. It's almost like the country of Slovakia or Poland. It's pretty.
Well, we got cities that are sanctuary, so there are some places you don't go to at night where it's pretty dangerous. And I used to hang out there as a teenager, and that's where I pick up my drugs and go to the white rich neighborhoods, flip them, and double my money. So I was an entrepreneur at like 16 years old.
Oh wow, man. That's a great idea. I mean, that's how you buy a dime bag, you sell it. That's the whole 20. Thing.
Yeah, and then there was this place in Bridgeport, Connecticut, one of the nicest cities in the country. They've been on a lot of lists of not that, but I used to go there at 16. They would sell me like 40 ounces of OE and 30 packs of Natty Ice for like $1 a beer, when it was like $8.99 for a 30 pack. They charged me $30, and I'd go up to the rich areas and flip them for $3 a beer and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're just in logistics right there. That's all it is. You're just
arbitrage.
Yeah.
I had an economics, major in college. So,
I mean, it's an easy one. That's how you got in school. How'd you get it? It's like, well, I was selling alcohol and tobacco and firearms illegally. Wanted in 6 states. Do you, Stuart, listen, just high level, we'll dive into a bunch of stuff here a little bit, just so people are like, who the fuck is he talking to? Because I'm usually pretty vanilla, right? A vanilla baby. I'll choke you, but I won't kill you, baby. Remember that song?
Yeah.
You want to give a little high overview of what you are, who you are, what you do, and then just back up a little bit into your story of how you got there. Because your story's crazy. So I'm going to be quiet. Go ahead.
So I'm the owner and founder of Ironhawk Financial. I've been in business for 21 years, won 27 industry awards. I've been featured in International Business Times, Business Insider, Market Insider, The Daily Caller, the Marquis Who's Who in the Congressional Library right here. the top 40 under 40 for 100 INC magazine for finance. I was also on the cover of the Who's Who for building and construction for Western Mass and Connecticut, because I work with over 1,000 contractors, have over 2,000 clients, over $2 billion of protection and rollovers. I'm licensed in all 50 states. I got agents in almost all 50 states. I've written 3 books published on Amazon: Being Your Own Bank, There's a Better Way Than a 401k, and Long-Term Care Without Long-Term Pains. And I just try and do whatever I can to help people. And I grow, I network, I build strategic alliances with whoever. And, I live by a very simple principle, which will not make sense to you, but I'll explain it, which is 7 + 7 = 20. And people are like, huh? And what I mean by that is, let's say I'm a 7 and I'm lacking 3 areas that I need to work on, and somebody else is a 7, but they're good at the 3 areas I need, but they're lacking 3 areas that I'm good at. So by coming together, business wise, I make that person whole to a 10, that person makes me whole to a 10. Therefore, a 7 and a 7 = a 20. And that's been something that has really expedited my growth in the industry, expedited my growth financially. I mean, I made over 7 figures last year, and I got the receipts to prove it. And it's all just helping people. It's all just doing the right thing. It's all, making sure that you are serving people. My whole life changed when I found God. Money used to be my all-time power. I, made a ton of money, but I didn't cherish it and value it. And, I'm on all the DraftKings commercials nationwide because I was their biggest sucker in 2022. Gambled like $13 million. But you find you do things in your life trying to fill holes, trying to fill childhood trauma, and you don't realize it until you actually get the help you need and build your spiritual life, your emotional life, your physical life, and your mental life. And all that does is multiply your financial life. And that's what I've learned in this journey.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you have a crazy journey there, and 13 million a year gambling, even if that's just like the same dollar shift back and forth, it's a lot of time gambling. Now, well, let me back up. First of all, the 7 + 7 = 20. Totally get it. It's also the same math basis for a Ponzi scheme.
Yes, of course.
To be clear, it's just like that's how math works. I don't want to imply, by the way, to your brand that he's a Ponzi. By the way, I just think it's funny. It's like that's how it is. Don't you put 7 in, you get 10 back. It's easy.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Yeah.
At some point, all the money's going to disappear. Just don't be that guy, and you're winning.
You got to get in first. Don't get in last. Yeah,
right. You can get about mid-form, right? As long as you know when to cash out.
But I mean, first is better. You want to be at the ground floor.
Yeah. But if you realize the Ponzi scheme is going on, you're part of it, and you just cash out and say, guys, I really want to be gone with this and just be done with it and just kind of not talk about it to anyone ever, even if they depose me. Here's your money, and you leave, and they get rid of that guy.
Yeah, no, he never existed.
Aruba. Did you find God, or did God find you?
Ooh, that is a great
I'm going to hit you. I'm hitting you with the hard stuff in here. Okay.
That is something.
This is a presidential debate. The questions will be real.
Yeah, no, I never thought of it that way, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I guess, I reached out for help and he spoke to me. So I think it was a mutual relationship. I was doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And it was a definition of insanity. And I had to stop it because it was causing nothing but despair and heartache. And when you're making at that time, $500,000 to $750,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck, you pretty much have a problem. So,
yeah. That there's definitely some problem if you're not making, take home $25K a month. Not work for you.
Yeah, I was making over $50K a month and I was still living paycheck.
Well, I've seen you save something because it's all about the financial. No, you didn't
save. I was the painter who couldn't paint his own house. Not anymore though.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. Like that you found that spirituality. Did you did it hit? I mean, was it with your mom passing? Is that how you kind of got on the thing, or did it come sometime after, or what's?
I ran. They say, "Are you a lover?" Or a fighter. I'm a lover, and then they say like, the fight or flight. I'm the flight. I didn't want to fight, so I just ran away from my problems using, alcohol, tobacco, gambling, porn, whatever it took to not realize what the real issue was I didn't love myself. and I didn't want to look in the mirror. And it doesn't matter how much money you have if you're unhappy with who you are. So I invested a lot of money, a lot of time in supplements and working out and going to the gym and having a personal trainer, having a therapist, having a life coach, having a marriage counselor, but that didn't really work out too well. But so just tried everything to say, you know what, the best investment, besides investing with Ironhawk Financial, is investing in yourself. And
Okay, it's
that's
something better. But you are an investor yourself when you invest with Ironhawk Financial.
well, I do both. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
But no, are you still on that journey? Do you still find if you don't stick with the things that got you out of the funk that you go back to it?
So I banned myself, on the apps, so I can't just go in, because I was betting like $10,000 on Honduras volleyball at 3 a.m. just stupid stuff. You look back, I think it's funny, but it was idiotic.
I mean, there's a little comedy that I didn't just how you do find that.
I didn't care. I'm all or nothing. That's my personality. I grew up without a mom. I was raised in the streets. My dad, the construction company, and all he did was just work 24/7. I was raised by, daycare. It was called TLC, Tender Love and Care, and I called it Torturing Little Children. And that's what I was raised from, and not having structure, not having boundaries. There's a lot of good in that. There's a lot of good that I didn't have a parent telling me and squishing me down into a little box and saying you need to fit your, I was able to do the hell I wanted, but there's consequences, smashing mailboxes, egging houses, stealing football cards. Huh?
That was just a Tuesday.
That was just that was mischief night. That was just a Tuesday.
That's coming home from school. I got mailbox at it coming.
Yeah.
Got egg. I'm hungry.
Yes. So, I lived a very peculiar life. I honestly, I don't think I should be alive with, driving 150 miles an hour every day. Didn't care. I got lucky. I had a guardian angel, and I think I was here so my 3 children could be born. And now that they're born, who knows? God will be like, see you later. You got your babies. No, your time is done. But no, I think I'm putting here for a reason, to try and help motivate people, protect them. I saw the devastating effects what happened to my dad when he fell 3 stories off a ladder, lost his company, $25 million. I saw my mom die at 52 years old, shocker, from cocaine and alcohol, doing it every day for years. And then I, watched my grandmother have a stroke after her husband died. My grandfather owned Lombardi Masonry, left her $4.2 million. And she actually lost her son, my uncle, and her husband the same year. And it just killed her.
Wow.
She wanted to, but it doesn't kill you. Dementia doesn't kill you. So she was alive for another 7-8 years. She was 100% Hungarian, tough as nails woman. You don't want to play pinochle or spades with her, because she'll just curse you out all night. And while she's chain smoking in the kitchen, just, and so
doing lines. She's like, all right.
Yeah, maybe.
She
had a gun. My freaking little 4'9" grandma had a gun. It was fucking crazy.
Did you put it on the table when you're about to play spades? You play that trump card when I tell you not to.
No, after she died, we found 2 guns in her bedroom. We were like, "Damn, Granny!" Okay.
Good thing you didn't go in there to help her in the middle of the night. She's having a dementia spot. And you're like, 4 rounds go through you.
Yeah, right. Who are you? Pop. Yeah, we got lucky.
You go in there full armor. Grandma's dangerous.
Yeah, but it's it's one of those things where it's whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I never took life so seriously, so I didn't take myself seriously, and I just grinded. I spent the all or nothing. I said the bad things. Well, the good things are you work your butt off, 14, 16-hour days. You build relationships. You don't quit. You don't hear no. So it's a gift and a curse when you have a Class A personality. And you have a real, a personality. If you're doing it or you're not doing it, period.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, there's different levels of that extreme, but I'm definitely all or nothing. I think moderation's a male. It's bullshit word. No, because here's the thing. So I go to the gym every day at 8. I started doing that early last year, or April or so last year, and in debates with my wife, she's like, why don't you just go 5 days a week? I'm like, because if I don't go Saturday and Sunday, the chance of me going Monday goes down 90%. And so I just make sure every day at 8, if I can get there, I get there. Even if I don't want to be there, I do something. Yep. And the reason is because if I don't do that all the way, I just won't do it.
Yep.
all the way, and I won't do it all. And so like same thing, like I quit drinking 18 months ago or so, and it wasn't because I was having a problem. It was just that I think last 10 years of my life will be better because I don't drink. And so but for
I
me to
agree.
do that, I had to just stop. Not that I won't drink. I'll have it if I want a beer. Again, it adds value, maybe, sure. But the truth is, it doesn't add value. So the point is, I know this personality. I think lots of people listening understand that personality of anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
I never heard that, but that is so true.
A friend of mine who's very, very moderate and, just balanced human. I'm looking at him like, man, it must be good to be you. He's like, that's Tom. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Yep.
It's true. If you like it a little, might as well like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the year I learned how to play golf really well in my 20s. I just gotten laid off. It was like after the dot-com boom. I took a year of my life and just all I did was golf. Lived the PGA Tour professional, 1,000 balls a day minimum, like 12 hours of golf, and went from shooting 80s to breaking 70 in a year. And it was like studied it, the mental game, all of it, got in shape for it. And it was like, that's obsessive right there.
That's crazy.
I get where you're at. And you've applied that then to, you've taken and said, hey, listen, instead of doing, Coke 4 times a week and not sleeping for 4 days in a row, you said, let's take that energy and focus and go make money and help other people make money and build a network and become something super.
Yeah. I mean, when I started spending all my time building up other people and helping them and teaching them, and, I'm one of the top guys in the country, production number wise. And, they were very receptive and seeing the success they're having on the Ironhawk Financial team. Because, all I did is I've been in the industry for over 2 decades. So I've been in all farms. I've been in the general agency. I've been in the independent marketing organization and network marketing. And I just took everything I learned, or the good things, and I built Ironhawk Financial, where people have high payouts. There's training 3 times a week that I'm running 3 times a week. They're building teams under them, and they're making overrides because my payouts is one of the highest in the country because I deal with hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's working. People that haven't even been in the business for 12 months are making 6 figures. And it took me, I don't know, 6 years in the business to get there. So
talk about your business. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you guys do? Like, what's the, just take me through, and there's the reason I ask this, because some people are like, well, I want to join this team, or I want to start a business like that, or screw that, I'm never doing anything like that. That's not me. Tell me about like what your business does and what's the value to the customers, and then how you make money.
So I specialize in an IRS code called IRS Code Section 7702. That IRS code is embedded in a permanent life insurance policy. I don't know if you recall when Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were on the debate stage for the 2016 election. And Hillary Clinton goes to Donald Trump, hey, you're a bad orange man. You pay no taxes. And Donald Trump says, it doesn't make me bad. It makes me smart. I use the same IRS codes that your donors use, and you had 30 years to close the loophole and you didn't. So that is what I've been specializing, in for my whole career, which allows clients to legally build their own bank. Hence one of the books I've written. There's Forbes articles on my strategy called Rich Person's Roth. One written by a certified public accountant, one written by a certified public, financial planner. So it's a strategy that the ultra wealthy use. You're talking about a multi-billion, trillion-dollar industry that the average person doesn't even know exists. They hear whims of it on social media, like infinite banking, be your own bank, rich person's Roth. They hear these acronyms. They don't really know what it means. They're like, I'm not going to invest.
Well, explain it for like the person making maybe 100K a year as a family. What is it like? How does it work?
It's basically a Roth IRA on steroids. And what I mean by that is you can't lose. It's been averaging just shy of 15%, 14.93 tax-free annual compounding returns for the last 20 years documented. It's backed by a 178-year-old AAA, A+ rated mutual company that survived the Civil War, World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, never needed outsourced money. It has tons of very, very wealthy people that invest in it. It's the best strategy when you compare it to what the average American is investing in, which is the government, right? I love my country, but I hate my government. I really do. They don't give a crap about us. You can't have one person represent 400,000 people and think they're going to be doing a good job. It's hard as a husband to represent your wife and your 3 children, let alone 400,000 different people. So we know we don't have representation, right? And so we shouldn't really be paying taxes if you really think about it. We don't go down the rabbit hole. Taxes is theft. So if you can build an account where the government legally has no jurisdiction in it's sue-proof because of HIPAA laws. Remember with COVID HIPAA, that you can lien the money out. So let's say you had a 401k, you had $500,000 in. If you pull out 300,000, first of all, you can't do that because you're going to get killed with 10% penalty, 59.5 your rule, federal tax, state tax, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security tax, etc. So you're literally, what the average American does is they take their retirement, they give half to Wall Street. Because if they're paying 1.5% compounding over 30 years, Wall Street is just stealing your money, hundreds of thousands to millions, depending on how much you're contributing. And then when you pull the money out and you take the distribution out, then you have the government taking half your money. So you're talking about cut the tie, cut the government the hell out of your retirement account, because half of that don't belong to you. And you can do that. It's legal, but people just don't understand. Like,
well, you're basically putting money in like a insurance policy of which you can borrow against the value of it to some degree. Is that the short end of it? Like if I put 100,000 in and whatever it is,
and then let's say if you pulled out 90, you still earn interest on 100,000. So
because it's a
non-direct recognition.
You still have an asset and a liability, and so you're still
it's a mutual company. So the lien comes from the general account, and the loan goes against your death benefit. Your investment account is totally unaffected, whether you have 99% out on loan or if you have 100% in there. So if you want to talk about being able to earn 2 streams of income on $1, if the fund's been averaging, call it 15%, they're charging you 5%. Can you imagine a negative 10% interest rate on a loan? Like I have all my clients use it to buy cars.
What's the withdrawals? Do you have to fund it for a certain amount of time or a certain amount? What's the
it's all relative to your age, your sex, your health rating, how much you're putting in. It's all software. The IRS is involved, of course. So you can't just buy like a $10,000 death benefit and dump $1 million in it to save taxes. So there's a formula, but I have the software, and not a lot of people do, but I do, which builds it out. Where I usually build it where it's max cash value, minimum death benefit, because a death benefit is what the costs are on. And that can really eat up the growth of the account. So it's all about how you build it, what carrier, what riders, what structure. Is it direct recognition, non-direct recognition? Does it have option contracts? If so, is there a cap on them? So you have to understand, like 95% of these policies are crap. They really are. They're crap. And I'm a broker, so I have access to all 200 companies. So I usually just sell the best, which right now is National Life Group, PacSun, or Allianz. Those are the only ones I would ever look to do competitively wise for the growth, the no cap, the non-direct recognition, the 100 years, the mutual aspect, besides Allianz or stock. But so it's one of those things where if you make a decision to do this, you can't just nonchalantly do it. That's why
it has a bad rep too, right? The people sometimes think that it's
because you can build these where you get huge commissions, and it's like screw the person.
That's what I'm saying. Like the rep comes from
the used car salesman rep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is
people don't buy it because it might benefit them, but they're like, but I'm paying 20% of my money goes to them for the first 3 years, or it's like some kind of like crazy.
And it's hilarious because if I just watched a TikTok video that had a 401k, I'm going to steal it as a 401k versus IUL or whole life contract. And if you go over a 30-year period, you end up paying 17 times more money in a 401k than you do in an IUL or whole life. It's a misconception that the government put out to say, oh, look, we don't charge 20-30% for a few years. It's like, no, you charge me 1.5 compounding on my number. And the residuals on life insurance is on your contribution, not your whole account value. So you can imagine you had this thing for 20, 30 years of 401k. You started at like $5,000 a year. You put in $150 over 30 years. It's worth $1.5 million. And they're charging you 2%. So they're taking $30,000 to manage your account year 30 when you only put in $5,000 a year. That's your first 6 years of contribution we're taking from you in year 30. Like they take over half of your contributions when you look at it. So you have Wall Street hitting you from one side, you got the government hitting you from another side. You think they're your friend when they don't even know your name, your social security number, slave number, same thing, XYZ, and that's all they care about.
So that's a good question. So did those come up I'm not a conspiratist, but like people do work together to make things happen in life for themselves. It sounds like when those got formed, then you sell on the lie that, hey, it's tax free, get more money, compound interest, all the things that go with it. But the truth is, Wall Street said, yeah, but we'll just charge 1.5%, 2%. You'll make it a significant tax benefit, and we're going to make a fortune. And then you can also then borrow and put treasury against that steady income, assets under management type of approach. That sounds like a very combined thing that went on there. You create such an incentive that people put so much money into it that they're like, oh, we'll collect 1.5%, 2% to manage those, and you'll make it so it's a no-brainer for every company on the planet to do it.
Well, and they mandate it with guns. I mean, if you have more than 10 people or now 30 people in some states, you have to have a 401k. So whenever the government comes to you with a gun and says you need to do something, it's usually not in your best interest because they'll throw you in jail.
Some states require you to have a 401k.
You have to if you're a business owner and you have more than X employees. It's mandatory to offer it. Mandatory. Then you need to file 5,500. Then got to pay a third-party administrator, TSP.
Yeah, no, it's like it has costs. Even like I'm a small business owner. Our teams are all out of Philippines. We pay them.
Oh, you're golden. Yeah, because they're not U.S. citizens. Yeah.
Right. And so I don't have to send them anything. It's just pay them PayPal. It's an expense to me.
Yeah, PayPal. No. When you have American citizens, you have more than 10. If it's 5 in some states, 10, 30 in some. But once you hit that magic number, it's like, oh yeah, you got to have this. You got to have health insurance. You got to have that. Oh, all your profits. Yeah. See you later.
Well, that's the thing is, right, we would be completely in a global market for what we do for marketing and other things and uncompetitive if I had to pay a U.S. person, which would cost more than the entire team of 8 in the Philippines. And then let's say, then you add all the other stuff, the 25% on top of whatever, for every dollar I'd have to pay them, I have to make $1.25 just to cover that payment of services for them. And then if you have 401k,
raises the price for everybody else. Yeah,
it's crazy. So I like that. So what's kind of the minimum? I mean, you have to have some cash flow in your life to be able to do this, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
you can't be like paycheck to paycheck saying, "Hey, we're going to drop $500 in and be going."
No, I turn away more clients than I sell.
If I would think so, because like
if I was an a-hole,
not ready for this.
If I was an a-hole, I'd make triple what I'm making now. But I believe in karma. I believe you do the right thing, comes back to you 10 times. So, I have clients that do 20, 30, $50 million a year. I have clients that do $500 a month.
Is there a cap though? How much you can put in?
There's no cap. It's so as long as you have the income to put it in and show, it's not laundering money, right? So I have AML training. As long as you say I make 20 grand a year, can I put in 500,000 a year? It's like, no. But yeah, there's really no limit. I mean, it's 20, 30% of your income, depending on your age. If you're younger, you could do more. If you're older, you do less. But it really comes down to if I told you, if I just made it stupid simple, if you had a choice between 401k-A and 401k-B, 401k-A had a 59.5-year rule, 10% penalty, FILO, first and last out, high fees, government can lose if the market goes down. That's 401k-A. 401k-B is tax-free. There's no 59.5-year rule, no 10% penalty. It's sue-proof. It's divorce-proof in some states. It's non-disclosable on the FAFSA form and secondary form for your children, so it doesn't disqualify them for grants, scholarships, low-interest student loans, financial aid. All 3 of my kids got it right when they were born, right? Can't lose, averaging 15%. So when you compare, and that's tax-free. So when you compare the last 20 years of the S&P 500 to this for the last 20 years, this has averaged, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. This has averaged 4 times more net rate of return. The S&P 500 averaged 7.5 taxable. This has averaged 14.93 tax-free. So if you do that, it's double. But then if you were to take all the taxes out upon distribution, it's quadruple.
How does it work though? Like, let's say you're making good money and you're a W-2 employee or whatever. You're making a couple $100,000 a year and you're making some good money and you put like, $1,000 a month into something or whatever you're doing. And then you lose your job or you become an entrepreneur and you're broke and you can't contribute anymore, or at least you can't for a couple of years. What happens to that asset?
Great question. So with Whole Life, because I sold that for 20 years, you're sort of stuck. Like, it's very rigid. If you say you're doing $500 a month for 20 years, you got to do $500 a month for 20 years. If you can't, there's some flexibility, something called RPU, reduced paid up. There's some flexibility, but not really. In the index universal life space, known more as the infinite banking, be your own bank strategy, That one you have full flexibility. I have clients that turn off their contributions for 3 years, and then their parents die or they get back into making good money, and they could backtrack all the money that they had. So it's really, really all about how you build it. And the better it's built, the lower the commission the agent makes. And that's why a lot of these guys are like, I don't know how to build these things. Let me just build them at Target, because that's how they make all their money, and they only sell 10 a year. I sell over 10 a week. So it's because I'm in volume, I'm able to hook people up, help people out. I mean, I'm talking to 8 to 10 people a day opening up IUL accounts, rolling over 401ks and IRAs into fixed index annuities and growth annuities. But yeah, it's an amazing job, because I can say legally that I've never lost a client $1 in 20 years. I never charged a client $1 in 20 years. So that is something important to me. Plus, I've had 13 people out on disability, and I've delivered 6 death claims of over $500,000 minimum to spouses that lost their other spouse. And while they were emotionally going through a lot of pain, at least financially they weren't. So there is a financial foundation component on it. There's a tax saving component. Think about the interest savings, right? I just bought a new Escalade, $130,000 in cash for my wife currently, and I took it out of my IUL. This year, I think it averaged about 12.5% rate of return. They charged me 5%, so I made 7% still on that 130 grand net. So instead of paying Cadillac of America, let's say 8.9% on 130 grand, I ended up making 7%. Do you know the paradigm shift of that per year is about $15,000 to $20,000 of savings? And what's the average car note term? It's like 6 years. So 72 months. So some are 84 months. So if I'm saving, let's even call it 10,000 to be super conservative. That was a really bad year, which the market did really good this year. That's $60,000 in my pocket that I didn't have to give away, and that I ended up making net, and I got the write-off on the truck because I own a business. So now the government covered 40. I still made money on the loan of the truck. I saved all that money I was going to give Cadillac of America, and I ended up pocketing, literally getting the truck for free, like free.
So in that scenario, like, right, so you've built up one of these assets to, let's say, what's the percentage you can withdraw from it? Like 70%, 50%? I know it depends on time.
90 something percent. I mean, it all depends on how much you continue to put in, how much you have out, what's in your account. There's a software that
it's a fraction. So let's say you've put a couple $100,000 into something.
Yeah, you could probably pull out 60 to 70, year one, if it's built right. Year two, probably 80. Year three, 90, 92, 94, 96. After 10 years, 100% of your money's liquid.
Is this one of those things, though? Let's say you're a C Corp business. Could you be buying these for your executives?
You could put them inside your C Corp through slats. And we do estate planning. We have lawyers, accountants, attorneys. We do second to die plans inside of irrevocable life insurance trust. We do super complex stuff that you couldn't even believe. Deferred comp, buy-sell agreements, key man insurance. If let's say you had one guy on your team that you could not lose him, he's 80% of your revenue. You can literally stock a life insurance policy on him, and if he were to die, that money goes to the company to replace him. So there's tons of strategies to use. It's really what the sophisticated investors use. The average Joe Schmo investor doesn't really know how to spell life insurance, let alone know the section codes, how to build it, the riders. It's very difficult. But if I've been doing this for over 21 years with zero complaints. So everyone's happy, everyone's making money. Nobody's losing when the market's down in 08, in 01, and 2020, 2022. They don't lose anything. Like their friends are looking at their 401ks go, and they're like, the sky's falling, and they're
what's the regulation on it then? So how does the things I come to mind, right? And I've talked to some people this, and some things that come to mind when I've met with others. You talk to people and they're like, hey, what do you think about this? And then they come up with all the shit they come up with, Ponzi, this. How do you? Is it regulated? Like, how like,
oh my God,
how do you avoid the Bernie Madoff
situation? There's no Bernie Madoff here. I mean, you have a State Department.
Bernie Madoff used to say that too, just to be clear.
Well, he didn't last 180 years, and he didn't have trillions of dollars and tens of thousands of clients a month going into it. But yeah, I mean, you do a fact finder. You learn assets, income, liability, goals, time horizon. They want to leave a legacy. Some spouses are like, hey, if I die, my wife's going to find some new D, so I don't care about her. I have other people that say most important thing in my life is making sure my wife's safe. If something happens to me, my children are safe. Some guys say, I want to die with $1. Some people say I want to leave as much of a legacy to my grandkids as I can. So there is no one size fits all. That's the problem. And then you have a lot of network marketing companies where they're like plumbers during the day and financial advisors at night. It's not somebody, in my opinion, you want to work with, because are they going to be around when you need them 2 years from now? Because 95% of financial advisors can't make it to year 4. So you're talking about 19 out of 20 people that get licensed aren't going to be in the business 48 months from now. So you really have to make sure, if you work with somebody, that they're all in, they're doing this 24/7. The stuff I have to know about crypto and the market and interest rates and inflation and the Fed and stock markets and meme coins and other companies' products. Like, why not New York Life over Mass Mutual? Why not Penn Mutual over National Life Group? I have to know their products. I got to know their returns. I have to know their cap rates. It's an insanely intrusive business. Then I got to do my CE credits, continuing education credits. Then I got to run the team. And I have 3 kids. I got to coach basketball and lacrosse and football. And I'm technically right now I'm still married. So it's one of those things where it's a lot, but it's something that I love. And when you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life. And I love numbers, because the only thing in my life that I know is definite. 2 + 2 will always be 4. 2 + 2 can't feel like it's 5.
Well, wait,
can't wake up on a
10.
Yeah.
2 plus. Well, and you're actually 2 + 2 could at best be 4.
That's it.
But wait, no, it could be 8, because they could have 2 that you don't have, and then you can have 2 they don't have, and together you're at least an 8. So 2 + 2 could be 8 in your own math. I'm going to throw it out there, because 7 + 7 could be 10.
Oh, in my own math, but I'm saying the numerology. I like that. Okay, I get it now.
2 + 2 is 8. Okay.
Yeah, 2 + 2 = 8 with my thought process.
But 2, I can only be a 2. He can be a 2, but together we could be 2 4s. Does that make us an 8 or a 10?
We're an 8.
It makes you 4. It makes you a 4, because 2 7s can borrow the 3s and they become a 10.
And then 2 2s can
You
borrow.
see what I was doing there?
Yeah.
All right. So you say you're still married. What's going on? You want to talk about this?
It's just 22 years.
We're gonna cut this part of the show.
No, it's all good. It's just 22 years. It's been a lot, but my kids are now older, 10, 13, 16. I stayed a lot of years, whether I should have or shouldn't have, but I did it for the kids. But now they're a lot older, so I just want to be happy. I turned 40. Life goes by fast. I remember being 21 like a few years ago, and it's like my life doubled. So what's doubles again is going to be 80. So I just want to enjoy my life. That's all I want. I just want peace. I have all the money. I have the abundance. I have the residuals. I mean, you know what the residuals are on $2 billion? So like, I don't have to work.
At least 150 cash.
Yeah, like $30, $38. But it's one of those things where I'm just trying right now to live in peace. And I want to be good role models for my children. I want to build this business for my children. They're not, my 16-year-old is my oldest son. I got another son who's 13. My daughter's going to be 10. And I wanted a place for them, not even plan A, just a plan B, even though my oldest sees my lifestyle. He's like, I showed him making $250,000 in a week. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like, I know some of my friends' dads make $50,000 a year. You made what they made in 5 years in a week. But I did the right thing doing it, and it hurt anybody, and everybody was happy with the results. So it's something where I wanted to just be happy. And sometimes you're not, and you fight it, and you try with everything you can, and it is what it is, to be honest, Yeah,
so I got kids the same age, and I'll give you a perspective that I had. I'm 49, just got through our 30-year high school reunion, and you go to that, you're a few years out from that, but when you get there and you see that there's some people missing because they're just, they're with the maker now, and others didn't show up, and you see others around you, and you're like, man, people have really aged. And then, you realize though, in that moment that, hey, like, average lifespan's like mid 70s. And if you can keep your shit together, you probably should live to mid 70s. And so I was like, man, I just graduated high school. Basically I have 30 years ahead of me.
I'm in my midlife at 40. Right. If we lived to 80.
Right.
Or
Well,
they say midlife crisis is
if you're
55.
cognitive, functional,
Yeah.
I can still have a pretty good life at 80 is 80. Like you might have some shitty years after that. But the point being is you just graduated high school. So what's next? What would you do different would be the question I'd ask you. And if you wouldn't do anything different, or you're like in this next phase, I'm going to go do these things better.
Yeah, I mean, what could have done differently? Oh my God, I would have
just
been
do it now. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like
yeah.
You're 18 again. So there you go. Go do it. 18 with 40 or some years experience. Shit. Everyone's like, oh, if I could just go back. I'm like, you don't have to. You're there right now.
You're still alive.
You don't have to
You're
go back.
still in the game. Like, yeah,
right
you're
now.
still here.
You know, it's always funny. Today is always the youngest you'll ever be.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I look and smell so good. Ugh.
No wrong with you, man. Who's better than you?
Plenty wrong with me. But I will tell you, I think let's do a shameless promotion for you. So who should get a hold of you? How do they do it?
You go to ironhawkfinancial.com. There's contact us. If you're interested in my books, all 3 of them absolutely for free, even though I made a lot of money off them. Special promotion, free. Just write an email to Joe at Ironhawk Financial, JOE at iron like the metal, hawk like the bird, financial.com. And just put free books. There's no obligation. I'll send you a Calendly link if you want to have a free meeting. But yeah, I can send you articles for free. Just want to bring value now at this life. This is something that's catching fire. Even though I've been doing it 21 years, it's getting a lot more popular now with social media. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts are now talking about this. The government has done a really bad job. Look at how many people they murdered in California, in my opinion, on purpose to build a smart city. So you have to understand
I'm interrupting your shameless promotion, but since it pivoted, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Up to murder. The theory you're going with is the wildfires were,
they're done by a direct energy weapon like they were in Hawaii.
No, I just
for the Hitachi smart cities.
I think it's pure negligence.
No, they're not that dumb. They're not. I know you think it. I know it's easy to make the conclusion. Everything's methodical with the government. They're not. What's
funny though is the guy. He's politically aligned, and he's one of the. He's got his name's he has the Command Your Brand, and I watch his stuff. Jeremy Ryan Slate. He's in California right now, and he's out there working or something. And he said, I'm driving on the road, and all of a sudden, like a bush comes on fire right next to me, and there's no fire around. He's like people are setting this shit. That's what he had said. He's like it just like a.
Well, they caught a guy. They caught a guy with a illegal immigrant with a flamethrower.
So you're saying the government hit a ray gun.
They have a direct energy weapon, and I know you say tinfoil hat, cool. I don't care. I know what I know.
There's these things exist. There's crazy weapons that we listen. The Blackbird flew for almost 30 years without anyone knowing about it. You cannot imagine what's going on now.
Remember lasers on
freaking sharks.
Lasers on shorts. All that stuff. I swear, it's all programmed in Hollywood. Like I don't know if it's Operation Looking Glass through the CIA, which all this can be literally verified and looked up. So you don't have to think someone's crazy when there's actual documents from our government stating facts. So when you
think LA, they said, we got to.
Oh, it was all planned.
And we're
100%. I mean, you heard Trump said there's a water stream going right through it. They could have easily done it. I just watched a video right before I hopped on where they took $17 million out of the city to get rid of the brush. Everything they could have done, they didn't do. There's fire trucks that were ready to come on, but they had to go through inspection to go to a fire. Like everything does not make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, it makes money. And it's not making money for us while all these people are dying, but there's people making money. If it doesn't make sense, it makes money. Always follow the money.
Listen, like whenever there's a national or act of God disaster, hurricane, whatever, earthquake.
Act of God. It's act of the devil, but go on.
I know.
Somebody. It's all about wording. It's all about manipulation.
Whatever it is, an act of mass destruction from the earth of some sort or sun. People make tons of money because the rebuild.
Well, they knew it was coming. You can't make money unless you know it was coming.
I mean, that helps.
Look at 9/11. The guy took out an insurance policy, double the cost of the towers. It was just a random. I got lucky that I made an.
I didn't know. I haven't fact checked that. Not that I will ever. But that happened.
Please. Oh,
that's somebody like if you trade a stock and make it 16% higher than the next guy, you get investigated. You're telling me that guy didn't go to jail?
No, he didn't go to jail. No, he was protected. How about
all right. So your theory is here, I
how
assume.
about the passport that fell out of an airplane that disintegrated into the tower, but a paper passport just flew out when everybody else disintegrated, humans disintegrated, metals disintegrated, paper flew down and right on Main Street just let me get this ash off of this. Oh, it must have been this terrorist name, right? It's you can go on and on and on.
Well, I mean, if you know your tower's about to get hit and you say, oh, I think I'm going to increase my insurance because someone's like,
He
listen,
did it. There was $4 trillion missing in the budget. There was a missile that they called an airplane that hit the Pentagon right at the exact spot where all the forensic accountants were trying to figure out where $4 trillion went. And then when after all that happened, nobody's, oh, I don't know, $4 trillion just disappeared.
Oh, that's the theory of 9/11 is that someone was trying to cover up a $4 trillion scandal.
You had no idea of it. Dude, I feel like
I don't watch. Listen, I don't watch news.
Okay, it's not news. It's you actually have to do your own research, and you actually have to. The news isn't going to tell you that. The news they're reading from a teleprompter. CNN, Fox, they're all the same. They're trying to brainwash it.
I know we've digressed, and I don't care. This is just fun because this is why when you own a podcast, you can go with this. Entrepreneurs, you can hang out now if you're just listening now. This is just fun talk.
I'm so sorry, guys.
We have 9 minutes. There are 4 or 5 minutes here left. We can. So where does one go investigate news? Now, news, if we go biblical, right? News was good news. It was the gospel. Yeah. You're telling me though, where do you go get semi-factual truth to find something?
What one thing did the government say we have to shut down on social media wise? You know the name of the app?
I think it's TikTok.
There you go. Why does the government care so much? Because China steals our information? No, they steal our information. And Snowden told us they did this shit 15 years ago. Imagine what they're doing now with the technology they have. They want to get rid of it because they cannot control the flow of information. So it's wide open. It's people speaking freely, saying, hey, this is what I feel. What was your first thing you said? I can't say the F word because YouTube is going to do what?
Well, wait, I can't monetize. I can't make full 14 cents off this if I can't.
You see what I'm saying? So if we know the system is rigged to not have freedom of speech, they're trying to get rid of the only app left that doesn't have United States control over what you can say, what you can do.
So the propaganda is, oh, China's listening.
That's the propaganda. So you know how many people I talk to say, that app is how do you know? Oh, the stranger on TV told me.
I have no problem with TikTok because I feel
I love TikTok.
If you don't think that every app that you have on your phone is listening, collecting data, and
there's apps that can your brain if you think it like they're.
Why don't wear headphones? They're just searching your brain right now and they're getting all your financial secrets out of you.
But I'm serious, man. It's people look at things they don't understand because it wasn't told to them by a stranger on a television set, and they think that that's Bible. God is not on CNN. He's also not on Fox or on ABC.
That's a good point.
So you have the devil that is telling you.
I've had Jesus as a driver in Uber.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, Jesus. Yeah.
You tip him. If you don't.
Oh, you're going to.
All right. This is what I'm going to do with your soundbite. This would be the social media way. I'm going to take what you said and say, Joseph loves China.
No, liberals would do that. They would take this.
I'm going to do that. Joseph, I'm going to get great. Finally,
I'm a China lover.
My guest loves China. He's all about TikTok, and he wants you to put all your information out there. And by the way, buy his product. See, I won't do that. But that's what people do. They'll say something like that you believe to be reasonable and true. Of like, hey, listen, it's a free speech ad. You can't, by the way, say anything. Let me explain why. I can't advertise has never been promoted on TikTok. They will not tell me why. Like there's like, oh, you're banned till 2034 because your content violated our policies. And I said, I have no idea because this is the content, right? It's just talking. And I don't even put the podcast out there. So it's not even like an interview. It's just, and they won't tell you, they can't show me what content it was. They just say, hey, you're banned till 2034 from advertising. And so I actually don't care if TikTok gets banned because I was about to delete the account because I can't do anything with it. But they are not free of speech, to be clear. They will shut you down for something and they won't even tell you why. And I assure you, as somebody who's pretty middle of the road on how I do my brand, there's nothing possible that should have shut that account.
It's freedom of ideas, not freedom of speech.
I mean, my point is, the fact is that I find
you could say it, but they'll demonetize you. YouTube, you can't even say it. They'll just take your video down.
But they can't even tell me what video it was. Like,
look what they did with COVID.
Nothing's been deleted.
If you said, if you had any type of you didn't think that the shot was good, they didn't care what doctors. I mean, medicals, PhDs, like gone, and then they had sports athletes like the guy behind me, Emmitt Smith, who I don't really like that much anymore. He's the one saying, everyone get the shot. I'm like, this dude played football. He doesn't know nothing about medical procedure. Like, it's just, so you have to understand there's a game being played. And if you don't realize what the game is, you're playing checkers while they're playing chess. So you really have to do some critical thinking, which a lot of people don't want to do.
That's right. Let's go get drunk.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's only been 18 months. You could do it and do another 18. You got this.
I haven't quit drinking, to be fair. It has to add value. So here's my example. I've been to Guinness, St. James, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to have another Guinness there. I would just have I actually like the non-alcohol version. But if I go to Czech Republic and to Pilsen, where Pilsner was born, actually probably born in Egypt, to be fair, but Pilsner was born from the Pilsen. I'll probably have 1 or 12 there and have a terrible second day, but just because it adds value. If we go to Tuscany, to wine country, I'll probably try some wine.
So you're not
experience where you are. But if I'm
not doing it, you're just doing it socially.
Right. Like New Year's, I don't need it because I'm just going to be tired and pissy the next day. So I just have fake beer. It's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, you rock, man. I look forward to if there's anything else, obviously, I can do to help after the show. We'll be in touch. But this is the first many conversations Joseph and I are going to have because he's a fun guy to talk to. Ironhawkfinancial.com. Joseph Lombardi. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man.
All right, cool. I'll be with you. I'm putting you in the pink room. No, periwinkle room. I'll be back in a second. Thank you for everyone who's listened and gotten to this point into the show for Never Been Promoted. Let's get out there, cut ties that shit holding you back, things you believe in, go, research stuff. If your questions about the financial impact of what he can, would you describe with some of the products and services around creating wealth in your own bank, check them out. Go to ironhawkfinancial.com. I appreciate Joseph for getting on here, but until we get in here again, it's not even a but. And until we meet again, get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur. Thanks for listening.